of carrying the torch still for Legends, in the way of turning back the clock to the era that was ended when the Triple H Undertaker Hell in a Cell match took place at WrestleMania 28 back in 2012. You know, turning back the clock, you can never have enough of that with professional wrestling, and this will provide us with a very rare opportunity to do that by turning back the clock to the Rock and Triple H feud, whether it be the Rock and Triple H from a one-on-one perspective or a tag team scenario in the way of a mixed tag team match with Stephanie McMahon and Ronda Rousey from the UFC being involved, with how the Rock and Ronda are good friends, and if Stephanie and Ronda had a history, you know, she was in the corner of Stephanie at ringside for her match with Brie Bella at SummerSlam, so it fits perfect with everything that happened at WrestleMania 32. I appreciated the segment with the Rock and Triple H going face-to-face. There you see it there in the graphic I've chosen to use for this week's YouTube video, talking about the Rock and Triple H's dream match, a match the world wants to witness. Is what I'm calling it. That is a shot from WrestleMania 32. It was a professionally taken shot by a cameraman at ringside. I took several shots of that and picked one to use, and I felt that was the best one to get across this point of the Rock and Triple H's match. I would love to see it. I'm sure millions of others, if I can speak for you guys out there, would love to see this too. You know, a lot of people would prefer to see other dream matches from their perspective. You know, some people want to see Brock Lesnar and Sting. Others want to see Brock Lesnar and The Rock. Others want to see CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Others want to see a match like Bret Hart versus The Rock, maybe. There are so many scenarios. Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan is another one. Sting and Undertaker is a big one I'm a fan of. Bray Wyatt and Sting. Everybody has their preference, but I think this match between The Rock and Triple H, I think everybody, it's a landslide. Everybody wants to see this match done again, especially with the segment they did for the anniversary of SmackDown some time ago when they talked about their feud and everything they did for the SmackDown show when it premiered in 1999 and from then onward. It really set the pace and stage for a match between these two at an up-and-coming event or a WrestleMania down the road, and I think it would just be awesome for pay-per-view buy rate subscribers to the network. People would definitely be into this. I would love to see the promos between Triple H and The Rock, and it seems like in the fall of the Royal Rumble of this year, the Royal Rumble of 2015, with Roman Reigns, the cousin of The Rock, winning the Royal Rumble the way he did, The Rock coming out to help him provide some assistance against the Authority, the Big Show, and Kane, and then we see this face-to-face between The Rock, Roman Reigns, Triple H, and Stephanie, the Authority, looking at The Rock and Roman Reigns from the ramp to the ring at the conclusion of the Royal Rumble. I really thought they were going to go the way of having the Big Show and Kane facing The Rock and Roman Reigns in a tag team match at Fastlane, leading into WrestleMania, along with Sting and Triple H's face-to-face confrontation with the setup of the match for Sting and Triple H at WrestleMania, but they didn't go that way. They didn't go that avenue, and I was really disappointed about that because there was so much potential that went with that. And maybe I'm, a fan of this because I'm a huge fan of The Rock. I've been a huge fan of The Rock ever since The Rock, first came on the scene in WWE. I was a huge fan of him during the Attitude Era. Was an even more bigger fan of The Rock in 2011 when he announced his return, and he had that promo with everybody behind The Rock, everybody supporting him in the way that they were. Everybody couldn't believe The Rock was there. They were wiping tears and sweat from their eyes and off their bodies because they couldn't believe they were in the presence of The Rock for the first time in 7 years. I said, this is awesome. The Rock is coming back for the first time since 2004. He hadn't wrestled in a match since WrestleMania 20. We hadn't seen him in 7 years. It was incredible. It did the WWE an incredible amount of justice with television ratings, pay-per-view buy rates, subscribers to the network when it eventually premiered with The Rock, coming in and out all the time doing what he was doing. I think it definitely benefited everybody, and I think for The Rock to just go away, it would definitely be wrong now for The Rock to leave, especially with him making a promise to us all that he was never, ever going to leave us again, and this was only the beginning. So if it's only the beginning, and The Rock's been tweeting on Twitter at Dwayne Johnson, and Ronda Rousey's been tweeting on her Twitter at Ronda Rousey, the UFC fighter, that they're just getting started, hopefully they are just getting started. I'm pointing and referencing these tweets out to you guys at Dwayne Johnson on Twitter, the official Twitter account of The Rock, because for him to be tweeting things like this, obviously something is in the works involving Rock and the Ronda, with The Rock and Ronda, smell what The Rock and Ronda is cooking promo for WrestleMania 31 still in the back of my mind. Obviously something is in the works, and they're teasing it on Twitter. Stephanie and Triple H have been responding in the fall of their victory, the Authority's victory over Sting, DX, and the NWO at WrestleMania. Here we go with The Rock and Ronda coming out whooping the ass of the Authority. Ronda taking the game down. The Authority's been responding to The Rock and Ronda's tweets. The Rock and Ronda have been retaliating with tweets of their own. So we have a Twitter feud, a Twitter debacle, sort of maybe not in the way of Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry or Taylor Swift and Katy Perry or what have you. But the thing is, it's just something that, wrestling fans can be interested in. They're teasing it. They don't know when and where it's going to be happening. Obviously something is in the works here, and you can't go without pointing out the tweets between The Rock and Triple H, more especially for the one-on-one scenario, or between the four parties on their respective Twitters in the way of Stephanie and Ronda, who are good friends, with Ronda, of course, being at SummerSlam at ringside in support of Stephanie for her match with Brie Bella back in 2014. The same SummerSlam, of course, Brock Lesnar defeated John Cena to capture his first ever WWE World Heavyweight Championship and be presented the new WWE World Heavyweight Championship title belt less than 24 hours after, in the fallout of SummerSlam, and the John Cena-Brock Lesnar program was taken to an entirely different level. And because, we see the same thing all the time in professional wrestling with the John Cena's, can't seeing people and never giving up attitudes, and the Bray Wyatts and the Dean Ambroses and the Roman Reigns, we never get a reprieve. I think The Rock and Triple H's feud would definitely be a dream match. I just feel like history's repeating itself for a lot of wrestling fans, but because we see the same thing all the time with the new talent, say we have a pay-per-view. Let me put this in a perspective for you. Say we have a pay-per-view 3 or 4 weeks from now. We're seeing the same matches 3 or 4 weeks prior to a pay-per-view, week in and week out, in addition to Monday Night Raw, and now what is Thursday Night SmackDown as opposed to Friday Night SmackDown, a difference of less than 24 hours to the end of the week, less than 1 day. We're seeing the same matches week in and week out, and then we get the main matches of the pay-per-view. What it's coming down to now is you either have to buy the pay-per-view on satellite or through your digital cable subscription, or you have to subscribe to the network, which is ultimately cheaper for $11.99 in Canada and $9.99 through network subscribers in the United States. It's significantly cheaper to have the network, but what it's amounting to is you either have to purchase the pay-per-views or you have to download the pay-per-views through the app if you're a subscriber through the U.S., or you have to get the network in Canada and the United Kingdom if you're a subscriber through their providers. So that's what it's coming to. You need the network to have something critical happening. So I think that, we need something different happening. So if you have to subscribe to it, if you have to buy the pay-per-view, if you have to resort to that level, if you have to resort to that option, we need something better to look forward to, and we need a reason to subscribe to the network. And I want WWE to give me a reason to subscribe to the network. Sting and Triple H was a reason for many of you to subscribe to the network, and many of you did, hoping the match between Sting and Triple H was obviously going to turn out better than what it did. Sting obviously was your favorite. You wanted him to win. A lot of people, at least 90% of wrestling fans out there, wanted Sting to win. He didn't come through in the way of The Rock and John Cena at WrestleMania 28 back in 2012, and that really disappointed me, and I said to myself, I'm giving up on Triple H altogether, but I still want him gone, and that's why he's been the direction of my criticism over the last number of weeks, and will continue to be, because it seems like he doesn't have a fucking clue what the WWE wants or what he wants to do with it in terms of a creative direction. He'll criticize all of us for not having a political view when it comes to professional wrestling, but when it comes to a political view, more wrestling fans know more about the business politically wise than they're ever given credit for. And I think if we were given more credit for the political views that we have on professional wrestling, wrestling would be a better place and it would be in a better position than what it is now. But because people like Triple H, Booker T, and everybody are still taking shots at the internet community because they allow that we don't know anything about it, the same thing is happening all the time. So if they're the ones that know everything about the professional wrestling business, why are the ratings so low? And why are people finding more time in criticizing WWE than ever giving them the benefit of the doubt? I think The Rock and Triple H would give us more of a reason to be more positively towards WWE and to give them the benefit of the doubt, which more wrestling fans don't do, only on rare occasions. And this will be a rare occasion. If The Rock and Triple H's match happened, if the mixed tag team match happened, say at WrestleMania 32, by then we'd have more reason to offer more positive reviews towards WWE, which we do not have right now. And I criticize WWE on my written column in this corner with Jonathan Clarke more often these days because I don't find anything positive is going on in the WWE. Tough Enough and the Diva Search returning in 2015 with the promotion starting at WrestleMania 31 earlier this year may give us something to talk about, but there's more criticism in that too because it's not what I remember when it comes to the original Diva Searches, Tough Enoughs, which I've worked with over the years back in 2004, 2006, 2007. Again, big part for me of my career was spent in the early thousands, and that's what I remember about these competitions when it comes to male and females who are given that opportunity. Not these watered-down reprieves that WWE are considering them a being and rehatching these, concepts 10 or 15 years too late, in my opinion. Why hasn't this happened every year? Why hasn't this become a tradition? I really don't know. And I think that because it hasn't become a tradition, there's really no point. And its purpose has been defeated. So we need more of a reason to review WWE more positively, and I think The Rock and Triple H is the reprieve that we've been waiting on for a very long time. A match the world's wanted for quite some time. You know, people talking about it on Twitter and on Facebook. You cannot go without referencing this. There are millions of tweets and millions of posts on Facebook about this. You know, people were posting the videos of Ronda and The Rock and their altercation with the Authority days after it happened. There was even a fan who tweeted a video out on Twitter that was posted by so many wrestling fans' Twitter accounts. It was unbelievable. Literally days after the altercation between the Authority and The Rock and Ronda took place near the end of WrestleMania 31. There was a video of a fan that said, "Oh my God, it's The Rock," just because she was so flabbergasted. She was in the same building in the presence of The Rock, and The Rock made a surprise appearance at WrestleMania when nobody knew other than the executives who had previously booked The Rock. The Rock was going to show up. That's the thing about WrestleMania, to get the fans in an uproar, and obviously The Rock and Ronda were able to do that. We knew Ronda Rousey was in the crowd halfway through WrestleMania, but we didn't know when Stephanie and Triple H came out to announce the attendance record, which was a record for Levi's Stadium. The Rock and Ronda were going to get involved the way that they did. The Rock comes out, you know, he's cornered by the Authority. Ronda jumps the guardrail, and then we go from one situation to another. Sting being beaten by Triple H, and then being taken down by Ronda Rousey, and The Rock ending the promo by saying The Rock and Ronda is cooking something up for Triple H and Stephanie, obviously down the road. Whether it be 6 months from now, a year from now, I think it's going to be great. And with all the videos and all the posts less than 24 hours after this happened at WrestleMania, why don't we get going creatively with something involving either The Rock and Triple H, The Rock and Ronda versus Stephanie and Triple H in a mixed tag team match? That would be amazing. I would go for it. I'm sure millions